What's going on, guys? Bruce Mattson here, your host show of Metric Scout Fantasy Football. And I'm here to drop a quick video on Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Yesterday on the internet, there was a lot of chatter about him on Twitter and other social media areas. And the talk about him was him being a sell. Everybody was talking about how you needed to sell Clyde Edwards-Helaire, how you need to unload this fantasy football asset. And the context was all over the place. So it's for Dynasty, it was for redraft. And looking at the fundamentals, looking at the stats, I can see why. And right now, he's fourth among all running backs in PPR with 53.1 PPR fantasy points. 2 top 12 weeks, while also having 3 top 24 weeks. This, however, is on just 34 total touches. And then I scrubbed my spreadsheets and pulled up running backs who had 45 or more PPR fantasy points and looked at all their touches for the season. So here are all the running backs with 45 or more PPR fantasy points. So we got 69 touches, 66, 66, 60, 57, 53, 47, 41, 37, 35, and 34, and that's Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who's dead last on the list. 37 is Khalil Herbert, who just recently got anointed due to the David Montgomery injury, who was getting some duty on the side as well. DeAndre Swift, who's now hurt, who would definitely be in the probably 40 range somewhere if he didn't get injured. So Clyde Edwards-Helaire's touch total is very down. This provides an indicator that his production, due to him not getting the amount of touches that matches that, as a guy who has a value that's inflated right now. Also, he's got 11.3 touches per game, so that's very low for a top-tier producer. Usually you want your top-tier producers to be closer to the 20 mark, not the 10 mark. He's got 12 targets and caught all 12 of those for 115 yards and 2 touchdowns. So getting a lot of work in the passing game. 11.3% target share though. 77 scrimmage yards per game. So he has been productive in each one of his games pretty much. Chiefs are money printer go burr with these skill players. On average, in their 3 games combined, they are averaging an implied point total of 51 points per game. That's both teams total together. The game scripts have been heavy in producing fantasy assets. We're seeing him get into the end zone. We're seeing him catch balls. However, this workload indicating to us that this could bottom out on us. The caveat to this, though, is considering the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes, they're going to consistently be in these matchups. That's going to help the running backs, receivers produce. So even though he is not getting the workload to match his output, he's also being put in situations that can produce this output. The question was whether he's a buy or a sell. The one thing I saw was some trade polls out, and people got the comment on whether they thought he was a buy or sell. Most people voted that he was a sell, and not many people voted that he was a buy. You're talking about 80-20, 90-10 splits. And with that being said, the buyer's market's not really there. You go kick the tires and see if you can sell Clyde Edwards-Helaire, whether it be in Dynasty, whether it be in redraft, and you might not get top 4 PPR production worth coming back at you. You're not going to get that. Especially in Dynasty, I'm not seeing big trade offers coming at you. You might get second, maybe lucky late first. Maybe if someone's really trying to get that production, maybe if you're lucky. But from what I've seen out there, Dynasty-wise, those trades aren't coming back at you. Redraft-wise, it really depends of the scenario of your league, who you're playing with, and whether you can pull off these trades or not. More than likely, if your league's kind of sharp, it's not happening because people are sitting on their running backs. They know that we've had some wonky weeks, and they're just hoping things just flip back over. With Clyde Edwards-Helaire, though, with him having that 4th overall production, and you're in a not-so-sharp league, your basic redraft league, your work league, your home league, you might be able to flip him and cash out, get you one of those top-tier running backs, and be able to move on. you might be able to do that. What I suggest, and this is where my take comes in, I believe that whenever you see a change in value with a player, you just kick the tires and see what happens. Maybe, considering you got that high-end production, considering he's on the Chiefs, maybe you can get a lot coming back at you. Maybe you're 0-2, 0-3, or whatever. You have a losing record right now, and you want to change some stuff up. Maybe you can deal him and get a couple pieces. Maybe you can get a decent wide receiver and a running back, and you can move on and patch up some holes. Maybe you can do that. Another thing is just hold him and realize that due to the amount of touches here we're getting per game, that he's going to have some down weeks. But considering that he's in an offense that's money printer go Burrow with these fantasy points, that you're also going to have some good games as well. That's what I'm seeing. I'm going to see some volatility throughout the season. We're going to see that with a lot of these Chiefs assets, except for maybe Travis Kelce. But naturally, in an offense like this, with a good quarterback who's spreading it around and everything's explosive, you're going to see guys peak. You're going to see guys drop, and that's how it is. I think Clyde Edwards-Helaire is on pace for that kind of year where he's going to have some good games, some bad games, and that's just how the cookie crumbles. Because if you're not getting that much touches, but the situation's propelling you, you just have to realize that's what you're in for. However, when you look at the whole landscape of the running back position, especially when you look at week 3, it's been bad. The running backs haven't been good anyways. So what's the difference if you just hold on to this running back who is in this situation that's propelling you? Or you can go down and get one of those good running backs who haven't been performing, maybe like a Jonathan Taylor or a Christian McCaffrey, one of those guys who haven't been hitting to spec, and maybe you can get one of those guys that you like better. Maybe you can try something like that. This is the time you can try it, but it really depends on what league you're in. If your league's super sharp, you're not getting it done. If it's not so sharp, then maybe you can get a trade like that happening. But I don't see many trades getting done with Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I just don't see it happening. Just because the fundamentals are saying one thing doesn't mean the market's going to react that way. That's just my thoughts on this. I think he's a guy you just kick the tires on, but I don't think you're going to be getting many deals done with Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Some people just like to rant on the internet and see certain stats and say this guy's a sell. But in reality, no one's buying, so no one's really a sell or buy if the market doesn't really care what's going on. I don't think the market cares as much as what people think about Clyde Edwards-Helaire when it comes to overall trade value in all formats. You might be able to get some done in some individual leagues. You could test that out. That's why you always kick the tires. But more than likely, you're not getting anything done with this asset. But let me know what you think in the comments. Drop it like it's hot below. Make sure you smash that like button on the way out. Really helps the video and the algorithm. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. I'm dropping fantasy football analysis like this day in and day out, every day of the week. Trying to think outside the box to help you guys out with your fantasy teams. Also, I'd like to thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video.